I was gonna say TNC banned out the gyro, so they've got that good. They're probably the only team I've seen ban gyro in this patch, I think. So interesting that Cignal is the team to force them to do that. But they've got to play the game on their own terms. We kind of saw it in the last game as well. It just feels like TNC, they're not playing as a cohesive unit. They're not playing as far in as they could. The coordination doesn't feel like it's there. The game plan doesn't feel like it's there yet. They have shaken up their draft. They have the Chen, really great early game presence, can melt towers down fast as well. And you've got that Doom, which we have seen to mixed success. We'll see whether or not TNC does run that as a support again, or if they do give it to KP to play around with. It all depends. Cignal, I actually really like their opening. The Puck and the Elder Titan gives them a lot of teamfight potential. You can really build a stable sort of lineup around those two heroes alone. They could probably go for the Void in the second phase if it's not banned out. That could work really well. You've got high mobility with that Puck. You could run it as a support even. That is what we've tended to see from most teams. So Cignal's got a lot more flexibility in their draft, or at least flexibility that does make sense. And TNC, without that Void ban out, I wouldn't be too surprised if Cignal actually went for it.
Well, why the hell not? TNC, though, they have the chance to pick it up themselves if they do wish. Though I certainly agree that Cignal probably would love that hero right now. TNC.
10 seconds remaining.
They've got the Chen, they've got the Doom. What do you follow up with?
5 seconds.
And I wonder
remaining.
what position this Doom's playing. Like, are they giving it over to KP, or are they trying to run a support Doom again? Doesn't really feel like the support matches the with the Chen, but I suppose only time will tell. No, it is going to be a core Doom as the Mirana does pop up. So KP Doom, I mean, he's had a bit rough. He's been playing Abaddon Viper most of the time. This is something different. You have
it should give him a bit more presence. It should give him a bit more presence. I think if you made him lane with a Chen, that is super potent. Cignal, they do pick up that Legion Commander, so overall, based on how the games have been panning out, Cignal's draft is looking a bit stronger. They've got that Puck, which we've seen a lot of flexibility from. They've got the Legion Commander, which has consistently done well. I think these jungle changes really just help Legion Commander really come out onto its own. TNC, they fall back to that Dragonite, and we have seen this hero do a lot of work for other teams. It stays alive so damn long if you don't have a right lineup for it. But there are cases where we see it falter. Specifically, we saw it really melt to a Drow Ranger faultings, and you can get stuck in those kinds of situations where you've got an ultra durable core, but you guys just don't have the damage to actually kill the enemy team anyways. So the fights end up longer, but you end up losing. So we'll see whether or not TNC does run into that issue. They're going to need a really strong pause 1 to give them the damage they need. Otherwise, they're actually looking pretty good. It's a really decent draft. I think the one issue is they don't have the hardest lockdown outside of expending a Doom on a target. So the Puck could go in and out quite fine if you don't want to toss the Doom out. You're not going to be catching that Puck. And, you know, Cignal could still go for an ultra slippery hero here as well. We could see the Ember Spirit come out once more. We could see something like the Storm Spirit, although that one is, I believe, again, that one was only picked up by Fnatic recently, at least in Southeast Asia. But that is still an option there for Cignal if they want to try it out.
Oh,
okay.
Slark will pop out.
That's a great response.
That's one way. It's one way of working out how to beat the DK, right? If you can steal the stats away from the DK, I suppose it does kind of work. I mean, you've got as well the Mirana who loves to leap away, but with that pounce, it won't be as easy once the Slark's in range. Is it really though a direct counter towards the DK? I mean, the high armor is still a massive problem.
Oh yeah, no, I'd say it is. I'd say the Slark really does enjoy these high strength heroes, mainly because he's just going to build up a lot more. He gets really strong, and that allows you to burst down everyone else quite fast, or at the very least build up for yourself while you're sieging towers. It makes it that much faster. But all the stacks you build up, don't forget Slark is a natural silver edge carrier as well. So that
Fair
just
point.
works out quite nicely for Cignal.
10 seconds
I like that
remaining.
response, and I think there's a lot of value in that pick. You're not going to be able to sneak in something like a Bloodseeker in TNC's draft anymore. I mean, I guess you could run it as one. It's just very hard. And there's that slippery hero I was talking about. You don't have the best stuns for it. You're going to have to expend the Doom on either the Puck or the Ember Spirit or the Slark. One of these heroes will manage to get away. You don't have the hardest stuns from TNC.
That's very true. We saw last game, Jamesy, he did have a pretty darn good performance. Went the
10
physical
seconds
build, which is
remaining.
something you wouldn't really expect out of the Embers these days, but it did pan out very well.
5 seconds.
This time around,
remaining.
I'm sure he'll go for the magic build as he's up against that DK, which, you know, does have very, very high armor. Still though, TNC, and he closes this off, you still need a mid laner. Still have, or excuse me, they don't have the laner. I thought they may have, but they banned it out themselves. What do you go into? Do you try something like the Brood again? No?
Choose
they'll-
your hero.
Okay, so position 1 Void mid DK then?
Does look that way. It's not too bad. You do have some potency in that Chronosphere. TNC would be a team that does play around that kind of timing quite well. And it really screws over all these high mobility heroes from Cignal. You catch that Slark or the Ember Spirit, whoever's not inside, you just doom up, and you can't take control in these fights. You will have to build up farm on the Void and the DK just a bit. It's not really that farm dependent. Like, Faceless Voids we've seen really take off after even just Treads Midas, and they can just expand their chrono, find a couple of kills. Treads Maelstrom, DK is the same kind of thing as well. Doesn't
10
take too long to
seconds
really start at least applying pressure to towers. So TNC, it looks a
5
bit
seconds remaining.
off this time around. Cignal is still pretty potent though. Jamesy backing that Ember, we saw that last time. It was really potent, and it could cause massive issues here again.
Absolutely could. Still though, TNC, some great late game with their draft. I mean, you let the DK go too late and you let the Faceless Void get too late. It's becomes a real issue for the side of Cignal. Try and get the advantage early on with this draft and hopefully push through the mid game. TNC definitely want to drag this out if they can afford to. Of course, we haven't seen Armel on the DK. We've only been seeing Gabby, but I imagine it will be a similar performance between the two. Well, it's really just going to be about the lanes, like who gets the advantage first. But certainly for the Radiant side, they can't really afford to fall behind with the Slark and the Ember. It just will not pan out well for them if they do.
I think this time around, TNC, with the Doom for KP, should have a better time that offlane, which should help in their early game. Like, that's one thing with TNC so far. In the past 2 days, they've been giving KP the, I want to say passive heroes. They've just been kind of slow to start, slow to play, slow in lane. So just giving him something that is a bit more active, at the very least once you hit maybe like level 3, level 4, is a better sign. Perhaps KP can kind of show us that offlane performance we kind of expect from him.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have a quick pause coming out from TNC. Looks like Gabby may be having some connection issues going on. Of course, TNC, a lot of pressure. They need to pull off this win. Otherwise, they do lose their major slot, and Cignal Ultra will go straight through to the major.
Yeah, I mean, even if TNC does drop out, of course, they're going to be in the minor qualifiers, I believe. And if they go through there, of course, they can still go to the majors by winning the minor, which is a bit of a tall order. Don't get me wrong, that's going to be a very big one to do. But they still have that lifeline, I suppose. Would rather not go that route, of course. Both teams really don't want to have to play an entire tournament for a shot. They would prefer to just go straight up to the major. Much safer that way.
I mean,
TNC?
in all fairness to TNC, though, they've basically qualified for TI-10 anyway. So
Pretty much.
It's not
Well,
too big of a
with the
deal.
way the teams have played, yeah, like you've won one major, you're pretty much in the top for DPC. So, I mean, you could sit back and relax, sure, but I don't think you'd want to do that. It just kind of sounds is a bit too lax, and I don't reckon TNC is that lax. Just
No, I
really
doubt it.
caught out. They've just been really caught out by the patch, I guess.
Certainly can agree with that one. There will be maybe a little bit of a fight over those bounty runes. Top lane, they're going to say hello to each other as well. Of course, that position 4 Puck, such an annoying hero to be up against. Just hits so hard. It's just always useful as well with that Dream Core.
The battle begins.
Okay, you're going to walk in trying to steal this banner rune, but Nando does pick it up. It will be a 3-for-1 trade once again for the side of Cignal Ultra. And Tim's is actually going to cop a fair bit of damage on his way out.
Yeah, that's gonna be rough. If Grims can keep applying that pressure, this offlane might actually not go as well as you'd want it to for TNC. The dual lane of Mirana Doom has some potential. I don't think the Doom's gonna be really helping out and setting up for that Mirana anytime soon, though.
Probably not, but Tim's really doesn't seem to need it. Like, he seems to be able to land these arrows fairly consistently, even without the setup. Keep an eye on it though. Looks like Grims is not planning to make it any easier. In fact, TNC, Tim.
Damn! Oh, Grims, you never underestimate an Elder Titan who gets enough stacks in the Astral Spirit. You do not. You have to respect that big guy with a stapler gun. It hurts! It is a stapler gun, though.
It is, it is. Grims casually works in an office after he's finished with these games.
Ooh, man. I mean, you take a look at Doom, he has basically zero armor, right? The Basilius is giving him some, but this is something that Grims can really exploit.
Certainly can. Of course, we have to have a quick look at the other lanes, where Van is struggling a bit up that top lane. March is providing quite a bit of harassment. Unlike KYXY's build that we've been seeing over and over again, looks like Van has prioritized going for the moment of courage rather than the press the attack. So he doesn't really have as much sustainability right now. Well, now he does have the press the attack, so things go a little bit more back to normal. He certainly was getting abused early on while not having it. While Eris is trading some harassment with March on the Chen. Puck has the position for. Like, his right-click damage is so darn high. It's very frustrating for March to have to even try to have this harass war with the Puck.
It's gonna be rough. Like, as long as Ares manages to progress through levels just fine, at least match the Chen, you're not really gonna have a bad time this dual lane. Sure, you're not gonna harass out these heroes, but
Grims
should be pretty okay where you are. I think he just wanted to reset. Probably. There was no one to chase. No one was low.
Was he not TPing? Am I seeing things? His TP's not on cooldown. What was?
Yeah, no. I'm not sure.
Maybe I was just seeing things, John. Maybe the talk or something. Was just a denial. Of course, looking into that mid lane, Armel, top of the last hits board, 19 and 3 on DK. Jamesy at 14 and 2, so Armel definitely seems to have the advantage. While that's happening, Eris does find a courier. Was Gabby's on the void, so he does take that out for a bit. Both teams just happy to trade half an hour, about 3.5 minutes into this game. Eris looking to see if he can find perhaps more couriers. Well, bot. Oh, there's a pounce that goes out. Nando, he will find Tim's on the Mirana, but there won't be much follow-up to it. In fact, Nando almost cops an arrow to the backside. He does barely avoid it. KP trying to apply some pressure with the Scorched Earth. He certainly does force them to back off his Mirana.
Yeah, it's at these levels that the Doom and Mirana can really start applying that harass. Nando should be a bit careful. He's still pretty happy in this lane. 28-8, 21-8. Pretty much up there in the last hits chart, so doing quite well for himself despite it.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
mid lane. Still favoring Armel, of course. With the breathe fire, it's hard for Jamesy to really contest this. Of course, he does have the flame guard, but it's not really as effective as you would hope up against these DKs. Jamesy. A few more creep kills, but Armel starting to get a bit aggressive. He does throw out the Dragon Tail. Doesn't have the mana for the Flame. He does now with the Mango, and he will find it. Armel finding a very important pickup in the mid lane. It's going to certainly help his farm. Well, James, you've got to be a little bit more careful up against the damage output of the DK.
It's going to be a bit rough here for Ember Spirit, just because that matchup does favor the Dragon Knight, and because, again, he just punishes sort of physical chorus. He's way too tanky to bully out unless he gets a support rotation.
Well, meanwhile, bot lane, Tims ends up finding the Auto Titan. Nice little pickup from him. We're just fighting over the bounty runes. Tims eventually does get his revenge up against that ET. Two for 3 now. Less than 1k net worth lead for TNC. Everything seemingly going pretty smoothly for them. Surprisingly though, Gabby is a little bit behind in terms of last hits. Van has actually overtaken 29-4 on the Legion and 21-2 on the Void. Looks like the pressure being applied from the Cignal side is going to be slowing him down.
It is very conservative play here from Gabby, understandably so. I mean, all he really has to play around it is one spell that does give him a bit of a escape mechanism, basically. So he's not able to pump out that harass himself. We did see March just trying to trade blows with Ares for a while. He's not really able to maximize his presence with the creeps to force Van out, which means Van can really just trade hits.
That's exactly what he keeps doing.
Catch us if you can. Die, mongrel.
Back at bot lane, KP. Starting to catch up in farm. He was a little bit low in terms of last hits, but that was expected. With the Devourer, you can catch up in net worth pretty darn easily anyway, so it's not too much of a concern for him. It's like Tims may have a go at Grims, but no, doesn't throw the arrow out. Just wants to ensure that his Doom gets away from this Elder Titan. Top lane, March. Again, trying to harass out Eris, but Eris will just go in with the Orb. Then just gets the hell out as well. Just want to contest the jungle camps. March though, still trying to get them himself. Be forced to back off. TNC starting to go towards, once again, the Ember Spirit. Arrow will find from Tims as well, and the Flame Guard will eventually wear off, but he did have Remnant available. He barely managed to get out in time.
Of regeneration.
Now, he had a regen rune bottled up as well, so he just returns back into the lane with full mana, full HP. It's like nothing ever happened. Meanwhile, Eris gonna chase down Tims on the Mirana. Doesn't really have level 6 yet, so can't lock this Mirana down. Tims will just kind of duke him out, get back to farming in the jungle.
Yeah, again, we're just seeing very conservative plays from both sides, very controlled aggression as well, so you're not seeing anything too wild just yet. We are starting to see KP creep skip a bit, so he's at that point with the Doom where he can kind of just play far forward like this. He has his level 6 up. They are just killing each other couriers as well.
Poor couriers. What do they ever do wrong? Top lane Gabby will commit the first chrono of the game onto Van, but doesn't really have the damage output though still. They will chase him down and they do get a nice little bash. And so eventually March will be the one to pick up the kill onto Van. So first chrono of the game will be successful though. Eris get bashed. Almost doesn't jaunt away in time, but he does get out. A risky play from him. James, you got to be a little bit careful in that lane as Tims was roaming around, but it looks like he will just remnant back out towards the jungle, start firing up camps there instead.
The rune of haste.
And KP could be in big troubles. Nando now has rotated with 2 other heroes. KP does throw his Doom out and will run straight into the Radiant side base, but there's no way he gets out of that. The kill will go to Jamesy at the very least, so the Slark doesn't pick it up, but you still do get that permanent agility his way. Meanwhile, top Van falling very low once again and does end up going on the Legion Commander.
That is the offlane for offlane. I do believe TNC is going to be much happier with that because they do expend a lot of time from Cignal's side. They did have to waste the Doom for that though. Still, that does buy them some space across the map. And they are keeping Cignal right in check.
Armel going after Grims. The stomp will connect. But that'll be it. Grims will walk away safely. Now Nando will come in. Doesn't really go for the pounce to Armel. Just gives him a few hits and walks away. Looks like Nando wants to be able to finish off that Yasha quickly to, you know, start escalating in. He has queued up a Shadow Blade next as well. Nando has been doing pretty well. 4.3k net worth on Slug, just behind the DK at 5.3, so Armel is still at the top. But in terms of timings, Nando should be able to be pretty effective. In fact, he finds a courier as well on his way to the Tide jungle.
Oh, all these couriers dying, Mike. It's pretty
Sad.
cool.
Very sad indeed. Still Nando. Gonna run into Tim's now on the Mirana, though he looks like he wants to try and go for this fight. No pounce being committed yet. He holds out on it. Had the Shadow Dance available, but looks like he just didn't want to risk it. In fact, he's still roaming around. Does find himself a Cobalt. It's a bit conservative from Nando. He probably could have tried for that, but thinks better of it.
Yeah, I don't reckon he had enough damage through the pounce duration, so it probably wouldn't have been a kill anyway. The leaps would have been right there at the end of it, so it would have been a pretty hard one to pull off.
Still sticking around up at that top lane. It looks like he may try for March, and now he does commit the pounce. Looks like March is a much easier target, although I say that. March just runs around the T1 tower. Moonlight Shadow comes in, and now Nando has to get out, but there's a chrono available for Gabby, and that is disastrous. They found Ban as well on the LC. They won't have the damage, but now Era's trying to find the trade, but there's a mech on March. He will survive. And now they will chase down this puck. Dreamcore comes out. Remnants in. March does get jeweled up and will give a victory away. And now they could find the Void. Do they have the lockdown? They certainly do. So what started off pretty badly for the side of Cignal does turn out into a positive trade their way.
I mean, you'd really prefer not to lose your pause one for that, but you did force out the chrono. You still found that Void. And you got the dual win on your Legion Commander. Overall, that is a bit of a win. Forced the rotation out from KP up top as well. So you've got some space around the map for a couple of other heroes to find some farm.
Tim's getting pounced on now by Nando. Does have 2 leap charges available, so Tim's will just wait till he's on the cliff and does get away. But now the Remnant's in, and yeah, Jamesy, he's found him. Nice little double damage there for Jamesy as well. It's a 6-6 now. The one saving grace for TNC is still the DK being played by Armel. He has his Blink Dagger now up as well on the DK. So I suppose he can start involved in these team fights. But Cignal Ultra certainly isn't making it easy.
They definitely are. Cignal is still keeping pretty good in pace at 6-6. A 3k net rate for TNC is pretty nice to start out with. And they are still progressing in their itemization, but you can't afford to give Cignal any way back into this game. We have seen them claw back in and take the advantage later on, even if they have a bit of a rough start. So TNC has to play this consistently. They have to make sure those items come out and they get used up in a positive way.
Mango Tree being found out by Nando now. See how they do use it. I'm gonna hold on for now on the backpack. Because that vision from the Mango Tree is very, very valuable. Cignal. May just put it on a cliff, as we've seen multiple times. In fact, Nando does get lucky and find himself a bounty rune as well, so helping out the team a little bit. Looks like at top lane there is going to be an engagement as they jump in onto KP, though Doom is there. Arrow will not connect though on the Ember. Still Dreamcall holding everyone else back, letting the Ember get out just now. Still it's copping a fair bit of damage as KB still chasing him down. The Doom should wear off very, very soon, and they just keep him alive. James, he somehow survives all this, but now the Chrono. Gabby, he found 3 of them, and that should be enough to take all of them out, and it will be. Very nice play by TNC. It looked kind of bad for a while, but Gabby does save the day.
It's a massive win for TNC, and that should give them the tier 1 up top as well. They found some pretty big kills. The only saving grace there for Cignal was that so he is still farming up. He hasn't progressed in items just yet, but he will soon.
Bot lane. The outpost being taken. Rotations are coming in from the Radiant side, though the puck does get caught out by Mel. Now James, he just wants to get out as he doesn't have the backup here.
Radiant's middle tower.
We'll just commit all his remnants to do so. There is a bit of a wraparound from Gabby. If he can get like some bashes, he could set up. There's 1, there's 2. Nando does have Shadow Dance though. This TNC weren't able to catch up in time to jump the Slark. Still, TNC certainly feeling the groove now. 6k net worth lead at 15.5 minutes in. Now, it's starting to turn into their game to throws. I mean, with the Void, he's good at Maelstrom up. Mel farming so well as well. It's very hard to see TNC losing team fights for a very long time.
Yeah, it's certainly in their favor. They have all the tools needed so far, and Cignal, they're not quite there yet. They still are waiting for that silver edge on Nando. Still quite a ways. He also has the SNY, the Sanj queued up for that, so he could go for that as well. But 16 minutes in, a 7k net per deficit, and an advantage for TNC. They are kind of maximizing this quite well. They've taken a good amount of map control away. It is a bit of a bigger story than game 1. They just got to maintain it a bit more. If they use the next few chronos well, they can really start to seal out the snap entirely.
Van trying to use the space being given by TNC. He'll take the tier 1 top tower. Tims will just come in, take siege creep. Tries to go for the deny with the leap. Won't be successful in doing so. The Cignal do at least get a town for their trouble. Continue farming up. They understand they are falling behind. As I say that, Nando will pick up the full Sergeant Yash now, so certainly some extra stats for him to try and make work through these engagements. He's going for that silver edge straight away next, and of course that is purely for that DK. Mel though, not going to be too concerned. He's going for a BKB himself now on the DK, and still is at the top of the net worth by a mile. Armel just hasn't stopped farming this game.
Yeah, he certainly hasn't, and that is going to pay off. Like, he is just escalating and escalating. He's going to have that surprise BKB, and that's going to cause major issues here for Cignal. They don't really have to really melt him through just yet. They are relying a lot on massive burst from the puck, from the Elder Titan. Their physical isn't quite there. They don't have their breakup yet. So this farm that Armel is accumulating will pay off massively.
Eris is just going to rush an Aghanim Scepter now on the puck. If you have seen a couple times, it just seems very effective in just locking everyone down during those engagements. Of course, the double stun never hurt either. Cignal, again, just keeping away from TNC, not wanting to risk anything right now. Gabby, of course, has the chrono up, so it's certainly not a very good time for Cignal to try and fight. Eris gonna get caught out of position, but Gabby will not pursue. Won't bother committing the chrono, he'll just leave this puck alone. Van as well, just hiding in the tree line, not wanting to get caught out with his TNC side. They'll both end up just trading outposts with each other. KP trying to fight back. Grims will be a little bit too threatening on the Elder Titan. KP will leave it be. Though with all this time that TNC's had, they have a BKB up now on Gabby, so chances are you're not really going to be able to lock him down unless you get the duel from the Legion Commander, and he will jump in and go ahead and try and take a Roshan. Whose Mango Tree is that, by the way?
Let me quick.
Well, it looks like it was. Because Tim's just took it out.
Yeah, it ought to be done, unless he's just playing hard mode, which is a possibility, but highly doubtful.
Well, the Roshan's going, and Cignal knows it's going down. They are slowly making their way up. Smoke will come out in preparation for the attack that's sure to come from Cignal. Of course, you can just echo delay this as long as possible, and that Roshan getting very low now. Cignal, when do you make your jump? But continue to scout it out, or is there another slot to be thrown out, but it hits nobody. Gabby still has the chrono and the Roshan going down, but there's the Punk Aerith. He gets the Aegis off the side of TNC. He will go down straight off the bat. Gabby, he committed the BKB in preparation to pick up the Aegis. Now Aerith can get himself out. It looks like he probably will be able to, but no, there's a Dragon Tail coming out from Armel. They will be able to punish at least a little bit, but the rest of Cignal Ultra are just going to run. In fact, maybe not. Gonna go in. They found the dude. KP just going way too far forward, and now Tims, he gets chained up. He does have one leap chance, but that's all he has. They should be able to burst him down, and they get the pounce as well. Nando will take him out. Now they're trying to fight back, take down Grims. There's the chrono. It's a pretty nice one, but do they have the damage output? I don't believe they do. It looks like they are gonna lose the Void. They will find at least one more in the form of the ET, but he buys back. March will go down as well. And it's just a disastrous fight for the side of TNC. They just lost everything in that Roshan pit.
It was a really big play coming out from Aerith, just grabbing that Aegis, forcing TNC to try to find something from that pretty wonky exchange. They do find a couple of kills. They did force a buyback out on 2 heroes. They did get the die back on Aerith in the end. It cost them 4 heroes, and that is a massive gold swing going back away of Cignal now. So they've got a way back in this game. Like, you have given a stats to Nando. You've given a lot of gold back their way. You've mitigated yourself down. You've kind of revealed your BKBs. You're down to 9 seconds. And this almost reminds me of the last game. Just how that one went. How one bad fight kind of evolved into something else. TNC has to really play on point here. They can't afford to slip up like that, because Cignal is the kind of team that will take that inch and try to push it into a mile.
Yeah, well, you look at that permanent agility now on Nando. He's gone up to 6. So basically got 3 or 4 more agility stacks on that Slarky. You got to be careful about letting those build up. Nando actually just has 171 base damage right now. Well, he'll take the mid-tier 1 tower.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Just walk away.
Gold for my foe.
Regeneration.
Of course, that net worth did go a little bit long for TNC. They had a 7k net worth advantage at the time for that Roshan fight, but now they are down to about 5k. Cignal would have got a fair bit of XP out of that as well. And yeah, there was quite a big dive back towards Cignal's way. So KP about to pick up a blink dagger now on that Doom. He just wants to make sure he can close the gap and perhaps just get the Doom off on that Ember. He is causing a lot of problems in these engagements. The Cignal smoked up. They go for. Gabby was lovely to find, and well, they get the chains off, but where's the jewel? There's the Dream Core. He commits BKB, but the jewel comes out. They've got him locked down, but where's the follow-up damage?
No. No. Why?
There's no chrono available.
Yeah, that was a strange decision from Cignal. Like, it looked like they were ready to commit. They did smoke up. They did go in with the Ember first, and they bailed. Just just like that. That's rather surprising. But at the end, I suppose that's a BKB charge for a Legion commander. They didn't get the dual win, so you know you're kind of okay with Cignal. You're not gonna be happy, but that could have gone so much worse, I guess.
Looks like just a bit of miscoordination from the side of Cignal Ultra. Still, 15 to 10, TNC's way.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
They do find the bot tier 1 tower thanks to Nando. So they're still finding objectives across the map for the side of Cignal. Nando will have that silver edge up quite soon. Just needs a recipe now. All TNC. Keeping down bot, trying to protect that outpost. KP blinks forward, but the Dream Core will come out from Eris. Still, the instant is going to be there, but that'll be the end of that. Cignal do happily back out. They'll probably just go and try to secure the other outpost on the northwest side. You do finally see that Maelstrom as well popping up on Jamesy. It took a fair bit of time because he did opt to go for the Spirit Vessel first. Now you've got plenty of magic damage coming out from this Ember. They will indeed take that outpost before the 25-minute mark.
Should help them out just a bit. At the very least, EXP is going to be split between Dire and Radiant, although...
Moonlight Shadow will be there. Grimm's going to get stunned up by Armel, but they purge off the stun Grims. The arrow will not connect. Gabby has the Chrono this time around, and the Doom will be thrown out straight on that Legion commander. Just make sure he can't throw out the Jewel. They found Grims. They even find Grims' courier. No Chrono committal, of course, from Gabby. It wasn't required. With that, TNC, where do you head? Well, looks like Jamesy will say bye-bye by giving him chains. Just gotta be careful. Gabby still has Chrono. Does run it back. Remnant's back again. Now again. And well, there's the incentive. They purge that off. They've got to commit the Chrono, and they do. He found both of them as well. There's not much damage going on, but the arrow does connect to help out Nando. He pounces through the void, goes after March instead. The Shadow Dance, the stun through the Shadow Dance, and Nando just wants to get the hell out now. TNC, though, want to move forward. They found the Legion Commander once again. Van trying to run his way out, but the ensnare's there, and it looks like Van should end up falling. And does. TNC fighting another positive engagement. They'll head over to the top lane. They want to get that tier 2 tower, it seems. Perhaps even another pick off on a hero if they can. Nando.
Jeez.
It is very brave. He had the Dark Pack to purge off the stun. It's definitely risky.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
They'll find the T2 top.
Cignal has to understand when they can force out these fights. When you know the Doom and the Chronosphere are down, that's when you should be going. This is the exact time that Cignal should be out there trying to find something to kill, because those big spells aren't around. So I would like to see a smoke come out, maybe when the Legion Commander does respawn, but that hasn't really paid out too well for Cignal just yet. They still need to maximize these moments. When the Chrono's down, when the Doom's down, that's when you really want to force these issues out.
They aren't doing so quite yet. 2 smoke available on Grims, but nobody really willing to go for it. This looks like Nando is just going to go straight into a Satanic up next on the Slark. Not really the Snowball Slark performance you would hope for if you were the Cignal, but he has kept up in farm very well. Currently second in net worth, only second to Armel. Both sides just switching out the outposts. TNC though maintaining an AK net worth lead. And John, TNC has 100% win probability.
Huh.
Since the start? Excuse me?
This is a service you pay for, Mike. Yeah, no, it's showing the same thing for
From minute 0, they've
wow.
100% win probability. How does that work?
Maybe maybe Dota Plus knows something we don't. Apparently, this was just decided from the start. Predestined. So if TNC actually drops this, then, well, what's that say about Dota Plus, Mike?
I'll have to send an email, Mr. Gaben, have a chat about this, see how the AI is working if TNC do not win. That is the first time I've ever seen that. Apparently TNC's draft is just amazing, unbelievable, in fact, just invincible. TNC.
Dire are scanning.
Line's being drawn out by Cignal. Mid and bot lane, they want to go.
They've got to push, but now the Chronosphere and Doom are up, so this is the exact wrong time to force a fight.
Dire's middle
It certainly is. March, though, gonna get caught out of the chamber. He's just baiting Gabby. Gabby runs, gets another 3-man chrono. The Slark jumped into it. Mel just gonna melt him in that chrono van. Still alive, still trying to run away, but he will eventually go down. And now they chase for more. They got the Doom on the Slark. They got the arrow. They found the Ember with the stun. Jamesy, can you get out? It looks like you can, thanks to the stomp of Crims. Eris, though, may not be so lucky. He does jaunt away. KP is continuing to chase, and Eris will just run to his death. Just waste as much time as possible. Actually wasting a fair bit of time. Doesn't actually jaunt, and TNC.
Oh, that was It's a good attempt.
So we have Aghanim Sept Doom out now, by the way.
Oh, they actually went for it this time.
Yeah?
Yeah, that is actually pretty nasty. I think in this case, up against a Slark, that is gonna hurt a lot. It just will. So you've got this massive amount of damage, a good amount of stun, just consistently coming out now. It's gonna be annoying to deal with. Again, Cignal, they have to understand when to force these fights. You don't force it when Chronosphere and Doom are up. That's not the time to smoke up and find these kills. The moment to find those kills were on the hunt. But Cignal is kind of forced to take this bad timings. And it is costing them. It's a 13k net worth lead now for TNC, 31 minutes in. 11 to 21, they do smoke up, so this is a really good time if they can find someone.
They're gonna find KP. Nando.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
They just back off. Roshan. Nando pounces out of that. Alright. They'll loop around, I suppose. They'll try again. Still, TNC, smoke on smoke action. They run straight into the Slark and they want to burst him down ASAP. Nice dream call comes out from Eris, and now the stop as well. They're being controlled on the side of TNC. Doesn't have the chrono available. It's a lot of damage so far, but nobody has dropped. They'll get KP on the Doom, but they are going to lose the Ember in the process. And in about 8 seconds, you'll have a chrono up, so Cignal, they want to get the hell out. Nando in a lot of trouble. He'll manage to run out of there. TNC, they might just go for a Roshan attempt. They are 2 heroes down, so it's not the safest time to try. In fact, they are still chasing Eris on the puck, and they will manage to find him. Two trade.
It is, I'd say it's still favorable for TNC there. Like, they managed to take out that Ember. They took that fight without having to expend Chronosphere and Doom because they weren't up yet. So now they can take the next fight with Chronosphere and Doom, and you're stuck in that same cycle for Cignal. You force a fight when those spells run on cooldown, you don't find anything big. The spells are off cooldown now, you have to play safe. And it's really TNC's game right now. They're just setting the pace of this game. They're under no pressure to really close it out just yet. They have so much room to escalate in all their heroes. And they've got control on the map. Cignal, they've got to find a way to really leverage this Slark. I don't think Nando's had the biggest impact just yet.
It certainly hasn't. Of course, now you've got an MKB up on Gabby, so he's going to be hitting like an absolute truck. The Moonlight Shadow up. Looks like they try. Yeah, they're going to go for the Roshan attempt. Gabby will get started. They will scout it out with the ET Spirit. They're going to try and take this fight Signal. They don't want to allow this to go down for free, so they'll keep tabs on it once again. We saw last time Eris was able to steal the Aegis. And if I was Gabby, I'd probably make a slot right now in my bag for this Aegis, as he hasn't got one yet. The Roshan batching non-stop today. Armel will jump in, but Jamesy will be okay. Dream Call now will be onto the break onto KP, and now the Earthsplit are flying in as well. The Roshan though so down low, Eris again jumping in, but Gabby's got the Aegis this time. Fool me once, fool me twice. Chase forward now. Van Chrono, he will find the slot. Still press the attack, keeping him healthy, but not healthy enough, as Nando will end up dropping. And well, Gabby, he wants more. Backpatching on demand to Van. Echo stop a massive from Grims, just stopping them in their tracks, but Armel does not care. He wants to go high ground. Only problem is there is still a tier 2 tower.
I mean, they find all the big cults they want. They manage to take that Aegis out. They still have the Doom up. They only expand a Chronosphere. So they can still force something out. And Cignal, their backs are up against the wall here. They're just consistently dropping in these fights. They have to find a way back in. I think one thing that's also causing issues is the fact that Jamesy went for the magical build. We're well past the point where that's effective. So he needs to try to retool himself or rush his level 25 and try to maybe work an Ags in if he wants to be relevant.
The tier 2 tower now going to be forced down by TNC. Still Eris jumping in, KP looking for that Doom. Dream Call will be there. Now, Echo Slap is actually quite nice. It's a nice setup. They get the chains off as well. The Void stuck Gabby. He's getting very low, but he pops the BKB. It looks like that'll be enough. TNC do back out. The tier 2 tower, though, remains standing for Cignal, and they want to continue going for punishment. They see March on the Chen. They don't get the chains off, though. So March will be fine. Meanwhile, Nando keeping tabs onto Armel. Gets the pounce off as well as the break with the BKB. He's going to be there, and Armel will be perfectly fine as Van was not in range to get a jewel off.
It's going to be really hard for Van to get those duels off. Anyway, he doesn't have a blink, and we've seen a lot of Legion commanders do this. They just kind of don't get the blink, which really, you can't go in and disable someone straight off the bat when you have no way of closing that gap.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
$16K net worth lead for TNC though. Pretty darn good right now for this Dire side. Was very close to forcing this to a game 3.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Gabby now. Start forcing down the bot T2 tower. They'll find it.
Bottom tower has fallen.
Cignal just kind of running around the map trying to push out the mid creep wave. TNC though, they have the chrono up. They may just keep going to this tier 3, and that's exactly what they do. Mel pops the dragon form. He has a satanic available. He gets in trouble. We've seen this before with these DKs. They take these towers so darn quick. Nando shows himself on the slark, but it looks like they aren't really willing to commit to defending this rats. They'll fortify though. Now Doom will be found. It is actually going to be Eris on the puck. So no Dream Call, no slippery puck in this team fight. TNC, well, now going after the Ember. It's actually a lot of damage, and now the Chrono as well. He caught the Ember, get rid of him. Grim's kind of just standing there chilling out right now. Nando trying to fight back onto Gabby. He will heal up full HP, but TNC is still very healthy, and now they come back in. Armel, he gets his Dragon Tail off. Nando trying to run, Gabby not there in time, but it's okay for them as they'll head off to mid. There is still a tier 2 tower remaining in the mid lane. but it looks like he should be able to take it down. Or maybe not. Backdoor protection, it won't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Has fallen.
Oh boy, TNC, they're just really finding every single thing here. They take out that bot set of racks really cleanly. They just back off. The rest of the high ground is open now as well. No more outer towers left for Cignal. And their shrines are going to be taken out fairly soon. They still have that one shrine down bot, but I'm sure TNC won't leave that up for long. 13 to 27 at around 39 minutes in. 23k net worth lead for TNC. Dota Plus still 100% for TNC. Just dead 100 right from the start. Minute 0 TNC. Like, gosh, is it because they won a major? Is it immediately biased? Like, what is that?
We'll find out. Sir, Cignal gonna smoke up. Armel, this could be a big pick, but no, he blinks at the perfect time. There was actually a sentry ward scouting out Nando, and they missed their opportunity. Again, this was a moment where Gabby didn't have the chrono up.
Radiant are
TNC, they might go for a smoke even without the chrono. They just don't care. They'll move in. Cignal, can you pull off this team fight? They're so far behind. Any victory would mean a lot of golden XP going their way. Well, Armel jumps in straight with the stun off that LC. Now the arrow as well. He does manage to 4-staff away, just barely. Armel can't really get the damage out as the stomp is there. Meanwhile, a Doom in the backlines. They have found what looks like the Slark, and they do take him out. So that's one gone. The main source of damage now, Eris, going to be chased down by Armel. He'll get the kill onto 2 now. Jamesy going to be very careful to die on this Emma Spirit. He tries to remnant away, but Armel is still on the chase. He'll remnant forward even more. But they found the backlines. They've got Van on the LC. The 3-for-0 trade without the chrono being used, and Gabby will now have it up.
That's a very scary prospect for Cignal. They need to somehow hold this high ground up against a Chronosphere without a buyback on their Slark and still somehow win out. And at the very least, James, he still has buyback if he does die. It's a rough time for Cignal.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
TNC will get to work on that top racks. That'll be the secondary racks of the game going down.
I am not so easy.
There's only one left in the mid lane. They'll buy back on Van. TNC. So they're going to go ahead and push in that mid creep wave a bit. There's no real need for them to rush, but they have the chrono, so there's not really any reason for them to back off either. They do have the Doom up in 25 seconds on KP as well, but perhaps they just wait that out. Go for the shrine first instead.
Radiant's bottom shrine has fallen.
Looks like the Satanic is now coming out onto Gabby as well. The only thing you're really lacking is an Aegis, but there is still a bit of time before Roshan is up. In fact, I say that, but it's actually a very quick Roshan. 15 seconds away. Cignal cannot afford to allow it to go down. It's so hard to fight. Like 30k net worth lead for TNC. How do you even fight into that?
Oh, no.
We're about to find out as Grims will get caught out on the Elder Titan. All you can hope for now is a defense from Cignal Ultra. As TNC make their way to that Roshan pit. The big man is up. They'll get started.
Dire structures are fortified.
Cignal will not be there to contest at all. So it's a free Roshan going the way of TNC. It looks like Jamesy was in a little bit of trouble, but he will remnant back towards his base.
That gives Armel his Ags as well from the Roche. So we've got the Black Dragon.
Black Dragon is out. This is a very, very painful experience coming from Cignal. It is very, very hard to stop that Black Dragon. Get found out over the past couple days. And there it is once again.
Radiant's middle
Up and down the cliff. Backdoor protection, that's very funny. They are going to jump in though. Nando gets started on the Void. Does absolutely nothing though. Dream Call is in the back by Eris. Now March also being down by James, but he's not down quite yet. Now, who have they found there? It is Tim's on the Marauders. That's a good start. Now the Earthsplitter flying through. KP losing half his HP, and Armel though just man fighting back. He'll take down the outsider, and now the Chrono. Gatsby found 3 of them after respawning with the Aegis, and it looks like that may make a game. The buybacks are coming out, but can they really defend this final lane of racks? It doesn't look like they can, as they will lose the LC now with no buyback available. And that is Mega Creeps coming up at PNC. They head straight towards the T4s, but the GG has been called by Nando. And that will mean we go to a game 3 for this lower bracket decider.
Yeah, that's a good sign of life coming out from TNC. They think we play this one much better. I guess Dota Plus was right, Mike. That was 100% TNC from minute 0. We'll see whether or not Cignal can turn that around in game number 3. That's do or die for them. Of course, if they drop, they still have the minor qualifiers to play for, but you really want to get into those majors. And Cignal, they're very hungry.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are here for the decider between TNC Predator and Cignal Ultra. My goodness, John. I'm static in the background. It is MLP Dota and John Expired. John, how are you feeling, sir?
I'm feeling good. It is getting a bit late, but this is the last match to decide who gets to go to the majors. TNC, Cignal Ultra, two Filipino teams facing off. 1 game left. Major champions, team that never went to majors. Face to face, dead even, 1-1. It's gonna be a very, very tight match here. Both teams really hungry to get back in there. And no matter who wins, I think you're gonna have a lot of people who are happy and a lot of people who'd be upset. So it's a no-win situation overall. Like, you will have a bunch of people really mad that TNC wins. You will have a bunch of people really mad that Cignal wins. But either way, one of these guys will have to go to the major, and I'm actually really keen to see how far both teams can push each other. It's been a tight set of matches so far. We'll see whether or not either side can really make this one a convincing one, or if we're going to be facing one of the closest matches we've seen in close qualifiers to date.
Yeah, absolutely. TNC Predator, they go straight back into that Doom. So happy with KP's performance in that Doom. He was doing a pretty darn good job. Very disruptive in those team fights, and well, just go ahead and pick it up again. If it's not broken, you don't fix it. Of course, they did also ban out the gyro again, so just respect banning the gyrocopter, not wanting to have to deal with it with Cignal Ultra. And I wonder what Ultra will do about it. Well, they'll go into the void. Fair enough. I do like this a lot more than the gyrocopter.
Oh yeah. I like this combination coming out from Cignal. This is what we sort of expected. The Void and Titan do come out into play, and that is super potent. Like, you are picking it into the Doom. We have seen that happen before. As long as you toss a hero that will cause the Doom to second guess whether or not to go for that spell use, you're still gonna get what you want here as Cignal. So I like the pick so far. It is a good shakeup. TNC, they go back to that Mirana, and we have seen Tims do a lot of work on that. We'll see how else they tie up this draft.
Certainly. The Void Elder Titan, beautiful combination. TNC Predator going back to the Doom Mirana. Tims, so consistent on this Mirana. Been doing a fantastic job overall. They just hero for the man. He has to just keep spamming Mirana over and over again because it's so darn good. And well, one more ban for either side before we see where these drafts are going to be headed. We do see the Naga Siren and the Lina being banned out from either side. Interesting that TNC's been banning the Lina, considering RML has been playing it so much. But they may just opt to give them the DK again if it's not banned here by Cignal Ultra.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised. That hero has really just done a lot of work. There's so many teams. TNC, they made it go really well when they run it, so I wouldn't be too surprised if they would go back to that. It's just a very stable core to have. It's not gonna outright lose a lane ever. It's very hard to bully out. And you're just going to find that farm as you progress. You're going to find a utility. You can melt the tier 1s very fast, farm up, and just get bigger. You have some great scaling into the late game as well. The Ags upgrade gives you a lot more. So there is a lot of value in that pick. Cignal doesn't ban it out as well. Perhaps Cignal goes for it. Like, there is that possibility. But I wouldn't be too surprised if TNC went for it after this.
Does seem like a decent for Cignal. I mean, they've got the Void. The DK could just stay out of the Chrono. They still have the option for the Venge as well if they want to go that. But I like this. The Skywrath Mage comes out, and it's something we don't see very often. But it does pop out in conjunction with the Void and the Elder Titan. It is quite potent. And now if TNC do want to go for the DK, there is a direct counter in that Skywrath.
Yeah, it's going to be a very painful time. Play that DK, you're just going to melt right through. TNC do pick up the Beastmaster, so now you've got 2 tools to stop the Faceless Void from having a very seamless Chronosphere. I like that pick from TNC. It's really focusing on that Void, but he is key to most teams. When you pick that Void, he's going to be the center of attention. you're going to be playing around that chrono every single time.
But this does mean that Doom's playing support then, right? So it's a March Doom and it's a KP special
Oh.
Beastmaster.
Yeah, but that's
Signal
kind
Ultra.
of that's counteracted by the Abaddon.
Very nice pick by Signal Ultra.
It's like one decision counteracted by another. So you have support Doom, and that can be quite rough, but you do have Signal. They've got the Abaddon. That one has had a bit of a rough time as well.
Templar assassin.
You can protect your Faceless Void a bit better. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not, with the strong supports that Signal does have, whether or not this Abaddon is going to have a better time, because quite frankly, overall, it has not had a good time.
No, it definitely hasn't. Of course, TNC Predator goes straight into the TA, so there's our mill.
10 seconds remaining.
We haven't seen much of the TA. It hasn't been very effective in the games that we have seen it pop out. Signal Ultra are yet to also choose their mid lane, so they can definitely go for the Ember Spirit counter if they do wish. Of course, there is still one ban for TNC, so they could always get rid of it, but I imagine they already expect the Ember Spirit to come out for Signal. Unless they were planning to run a Skywrath Mage core.
Turn to ban.
I don't think that'll be the case though.
It would be a bit rough. I don't think that would work out too well. I feel like the hero is still going to be really good in this lineup. Of course, natural combination with a Void. Able to do that. Dish that damage out you need early on
TNC
very quickly, so there's a lot of value in that. I like the ban out from TNC. That Ember Spirit would have caused a lot of issues for their TA. So this is just giving Armel that much of a better time down mid. We'll see how else they close out this draft. It does feel like they will need a safe laner, of course. We are looking at Gabby's here that still has to pop out.
10 seconds remaining.
I mean, they could go for the safe choice in that lifesteal we've been seeing, but it doesn't work well up against the Void. They'll go for the Chaos
okay.
side.
I like that. Have any real way of clearing out those illusions this time around from Signal? You can really melt the backline in this case. Skye is just going to be very vulnerable to Chaos Knight. You have enough teamfight and control from the rest of your team that you're not going to be too worried.
10
You do
seconds
require a
remaining.
bit of farm early on, but you can definitely buy space for that TA as long as you play aggressively. The key thing is you have to play aggressively with your Doom and Beastmaster, find those early pickoffs, keep them busy, away from your TA while she's still farming up. You will still need maybe an early Midas or early Armor, depending. Once you have that, you should be pretty active on the map. I like that pick. Signal, they've got to pick a mid laner now that can deal with that Chaos Knight. I guess the OD is still in the pool. That is something that they could fall back to, and it would certainly play out quite nicely up against TA, up against the CK. Pretty much everyone is just going to melt to a hero like that, so a lot of value if they go for that OD. They go with a Timber instead. Fair enough, right? Like, it eats strength heroes quite well. Cause havoc up against that Chaos Knight early on at the very least. It's going to be interesting to see that laning though.
I mean, in the end, with the reactive armor, Armel shouldn't be able to do too much, right? Like, even with the Mel Deso, although it's great, the Timber is always going to have the reactive armor to kind of combat that. We've been seeing the Timber banned out so much over the past couple days. This is the first time we've had the pleasure of seeing it pop out in a game, and it's the last game of the whole closed qualifier for SEA. I don't know. It should be interesting. It definitely does do well against the Chaos Knight. Mind you, you are picking this into a Doom, so that could be somewhat problematic. Of course, like you mentioned, in the laning stage, Armel should really have no problems.
Yeah, it's one of those times where we see that Timbersaw mid again. I think we've seen it a couple of times before. Completely fond of it. It does work out nicely, I think, with the spacing changes as well to mid lane. I'm not sure how much flexibility you have as a Timbersaw nowadays to really zip in and out as the game goes on in that lane, at least in the laning phase, of course. We'll see. The one key thing, at the very least, for the Timbersaw is it comes online fast, doesn't require farm, compared to the TA, who will kind of just rice farm, come around 10 to 20 minutes. They're stuck in that junk for a bit. until the Dezoin blinks up at the very least. So you should expect a bit more activity from Cignal, and you should expect TNC to take it easy from Armel. It will be down to Gabby and KP to pick up the pace there, to buy them time. So one of the key things for TNC is giving Gabby that good start. We have seen CKs fall behind before, and they do not flash farm well. But once you go behind, you're just losing the game.
Certainly are. We had an experience with that the other day where it just seemed like they could never get this CK online. We'll also have to keep an eye out on the build of Gabby, whether he does go for the armlet into the heart rush, which we saw the other day, and it just didn't work out. Of course, a lot of pressure on KP. It's not going to be an easy game for him. Plenty of raw targets he needs to go for it, but you do have to watch out for that Abaddon Aphotic Shield. Can just purge that stun off. So he does play this hero quite a lot. A lot of pressure between both these teams to try and pull off this win. Cignal Ultra, though, definitely feeling much more pressure. I mean, this is their first DPC event they're fighting for. It's the closest they've ever gotten, I believe. Well, they'll get started. Looks like top lane. They are actually going on to Nando right now, and Nando will be able to time walk all that damage off. Grims will be there anyway, just in case. Of course, we saw last game, or the game before, I believe, Grims was on the Elder Titan, and he was quite scary. You've got to be very careful with that Astral Spirit. He did manage to get first blood on Tim's just by right-clicking. So we'll see if Tim's tries to avoid it this time or falls for the same trap.
You really don't want to be caught in those right-clicks from a hero like this. And Grims is trying to set himself up there, but it looks like Tim's knows better now. He's staying a bit further back, so not going to have that silly slap fest we had earlier on.
Mid lane, Jamesy up against Armel. Should really just favor Armel for quite a while. He could just spam refraction. Jamesy won't be able to do much about it. In those reactive armor charges, level 1 really isn't much at all. You can already see Armel really applying the pressure to this Timbersaw. In fact, he's almost got him down. Jamesy has to be very careful. He does commit a lot of whirling deaths towards Armel as well, so he does lose quite a bit of HP. Of course, bot lane, Gabby on the seat, will be there with March on the Doom, and they have Van and of course Eris there on the Skyra. Van playing that core Abaddon role, it seems. Shouldn't have too much of a hard time in this lane, farming up as the Abaddon. There's not really much that can shut him down, especially while he's got his Skyra there. So speaking of the Skyra, I think he has to be careful as that chain lightning that March has taken from the neutral creep does a hell of a lot of damage. But while we're talking about that, Jamesy does end up losing his life to Armel in the mid lane.
That is to be expected, right? This is something we've been talking about since the draft. Timbersaw is just not going to have a very good time up against that TA down mid. And Armel certainly does abuse that spell kit to really just force Jamesy to go back to the base.
Cheap spell as well, 50 gold for 140 damage, and it bounces on the Doom. This top lane, Grims falling very low on the Elder Titan now. KP going up with Tibbs, and they do find the kill. Very nice play. The Void will be forced to time walk some damage off. Nando not having the greatest time in the world. It's just very hard up against Beastmaster. You've got those balls there, but as well as that, Tim's is always around as well to teach out the damage. Speaking of, look down at that bot lane where March almost goes down on the Doom. And Eris, rather than chasing the Doom kill, went for the courier of March.
That actually hurts March a lot more. He does not have the mana to TP home, and he probably is just going to be stuck in this lane unless he goes for a suicide.
Well, Eris does end up killing himself off. Unfortunately for him, March does get the gold for that. So he just needed to deny himself off one way or the other. Armel.
Are scanning.
I mean, both heroes heroes are trading pretty uncontested this mid lane. I don't know which one's more of a concern though. Seems like way too much farm early on is going to be problematic. Then again, a Timber Saw can be very, very painful. Tim's, speaking of painful, finds a very, very important courier pickup. Those items were on there, and he's going to not have them for a couple minutes now.
It does seem to be part of TNC's game plan to really just hunt down those couriers, make it harder for Cignal to ferry out their items to their cores, and that certainly does hurt in the laning phase, especially if you find something big like the safe laner in mid.
Jamesy almost goes down to Armel, though Eris does come in to try and help out. He still tries for James, but Jamesy with those reactive armor stacks has healed up quite a bit. Armel will use refraction and will survive another day. Salves up. Armel gets the ult chat. Eris will give him a concussive shot back. Jamesy remaining on very, very low HP, doesn't really seem to mind anyway. He does finally back off out of the mid lane for a bit though.
Time is money.
3 bounty runes already going to the way of Cignal Ultra. Gabby does manage to find one for the team.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
See, not really prioritizing those bounty runes at the moment. Would rather just continue sticking in the lane as they are pretty much winning every single lane. You could make the argument that the mid lane is still an even trade between Armel and Jamesy, but Armel has found himself slightly ahead.
We're reaching that point as well where the TA can just slip into that jungle and farm up a bit more. Armel does have a 1-level lead over Jamesy, and it's that point where Timbersaw can melt through the refractions with Chakra now, but we're not seeing the silly Timbersaw come out just yet.
It does take a bit more time than that for the silly Timbersaw.
Is under attack.
Still, he's just prioritizing farm for now. He's got the Soul Ring up. He wants to disrupt Armel in the jungle and does manage to steal a creep away from the TA. Just return straight back into the lane. Still, Armel's net worth not really suffering too much. It's almost at 3.k, well ahead of anybody else. He's just juggling between that jungle and, of course, the lane. Look up, Nando on the Void has really been struggling. 2k net worth, nothing to write home about. KP has been making his life very, very hard.
This is going to be very hard for Cignal to recover from. Oh, an aggro lands as well. But it's going to be hard to recover from this one. The Void farms okay. It's not the fastest in the world as a flash farmer. You can still make it work, but you really want either a Maelstrom or a Midas to accelerate that farm for you and also enable you to make use of that early chrono. Without any of those coming out, heck, without even a power treads up on Nando, his level 6 is really not going to be as impactful as you'd hope.
Top lane, they are going to try and get KP now. He already took that T1 tower. Concussive shot does come out. They should be able to get the Echo Stomp off, though no, they don't really try. And surprisingly enough, they actually leave KP alone.
You know, Mike, I want to point something out as well, just really quick. Check the win probability. It's just a die. I think it's busted for the die right now for us, for some reason.
All right, this one I don't know about. 100% for Cignal Ultra. Well, Gabe, we'll see if Gabe is correct this time, John. He was correct last time. So, I'd be impressed if he was. Armel, double damage rune on the TA now. Has a nice little trusty shovel for himself.
Yeah, I like this item build-up from Gabby as well. He is going for the armlet. So he wants to be active early on. This is exactly what you want to see, especially when you're playing with that TA who will require some farm time. I mean, even the progression towards that link is going to be pretty fast. He's just about 700 gold away. But you'd still want the Desolator on top of that anyway. And that just means you are going to have to buy some time there.
Well, Gabby's been farming pretty well. Like, they haven't put any pressure on this man. It's unlike the last time we saw a CK where there was a lot of pressure. Gabby just free farming right now. Van hasn't been able to do anything on the Abaddon to stop him. Van's farm has struggled a hell of a lot. 2.7k net worth, just behind his own Void at 2.8. TNC has complete control over this game so far. Jamesy at least finds a courier off March, I guess. Don't think March will mind too much.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Van gets up here, but Nando is there with Jamesy. They have the Chrono available. They want to kill off the CK.
Oh no.
But that Chrono is not the one they needed. March won't mind dying for that. Oh my, that's a big mistake. Nando will stick around them, creeps off Gabby, but he's not going to be happy about that one.
Oh, definitely not. You can see he was going for the greedy play, trying to catch both. He just kind of misses out on it. And unfortunately enough, that does mean that the spell isn't as successful as you want. They do get that port kill. It's still not ideal. We always talk about that timing around the first Chrono. Ooh, you know, just getting a kill is kind of good, but it doesn't feel like it's enough.
Looks like Gabby's starting to get active across the map. Grim's going to be the target. He does go down to Armel, and now Jamesy trying to punish back. They'll get the T1 as well. And looks like Jamesy may lose his life here. He's really not as tanky as you would hope. 24 active rearmor stats. It will be enough, or maybe not. Armel can't quite take him out. They will back off. I mean, they've got the T1. They got a kill. Now Gabby rotates to the bot lane where they get the Doom off on the Void, and March actually escapes with his life intact. They won't find the Void though.
Oh, the arrow? Cool.
Tim's trying to sneak one while they weren't watching. Won't find it. Good attempt though. So a 4-1 though. 4k net worth lead for TNC 11 minutes in. Pretty damn good lead. And these towers, they're still melting. I mean, KP's still forcing in this top lane. Van's been forced to try and defend that. The bot lane's now being pushed in by Gabby. And this is just buying more space for Armel, who already has the blink up. And he'll have the Desolator up pretty darn soon.
TNC is really hitting all their timing here. Every single thing that should be happening is happening. In fact, it's going really fast. The fact that that tier 2 up top isn't very safe, the fact that the Timbersaw can't just go between that tier 2 and tier 3 to find that farm, or you're just not getting the maximum potential from that Timbersaw. What you tend to see is, at this point in time, you're big enough, you maybe have a pipe, or you know, you maybe have a Vanguard or Hood of Defiance, and then you just play between tier 2, tier 3. Annoy the hell out of someone by shoving in a lane that way. It's not happening just yet. They're forced to respond to TNC's movements.
Bot. Nice stomp. On to 2. Do they follow up with it though? No. Definitely do not. Nando does have the Chrono available. He wants to try and go for another hero pick off. They'll just force down that bot T1. I don't believe TNC will even try to defend this. There's really no need to. They'll just let it go down. And will eventually take it for himself. While that's happening though, TNC will find something even better in the Roshan. And with Armel there, with the melt strikes, and with KP with all his creeps, it is a very, very quick process.
Not only that, but Armel had a very fortunate double damage rune, so they do take that rush uncontested, widening their net worth gap to 6k in favor of TNC, 4-1, 13 minutes in. Van, I don't think you want to be there.
No, certainly not. He does have borrowed time. KP does have Raw if he really wants to commit it, and he will, but there are TPs coming in. Eris trying to help out. Armel is not afraid though, and he will go in and clean him up, and now Eris could be in trouble. Armel, not really much mana to play with. He does have the Aegis, so does have a secondary life if he wants to push the limits. They will not, however. They'll be happy with that. And I can't blame them. There's no need to overextend. They're just finding everything they need. And if this game keeps up the way it is, Cignal Ultra could be losing very, very quickly.
Dire's top tower.
It's really down to the fact that Cignal has not been able to maximize their combo. We haven't seen a big chrono with the Earth Splitter, with the Mystic Flare really coming out just yet. Cignal, they need to make it. That's what their draft is all about. It's just not happening.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Farm suffering all over the place for Cignal. Like Nando's still trying to get that Maelstrom up. Have it relatively soon. Suppose you could make something happen, but you could look at Armel. They're so up now. BOT's come up on KP, so he has high mobility. Of course, Gabby has the armlet, and he's going for what looks like an Echo Saber up next. Bot lane, they are going to engage onto Jamesy, who is melting to Armel. They will emphatic shield him up. Doom will be there on the abandon, and now Chrono. It is pretty darn nice with the Mystic Flare. They'll take down KP on the Beastmaster. They tried for March. They've lost Grims, though. And now it looks like they may want to back out for Cignal Ultra, though. Jamesy is taking a lot of damage off that CK. And not really being too phased by it either. And so although it kind of looked good for TNC, they do end up losing out 2-1. And you're starting to see Jamesy on that Timber just a little bit too tanky for Gabby to try and take out.
Certainly is. I think that's going to be an issue for the next at least 5 to 10 minutes, specifically on Jamesy. That's really just the moment when Timbersaw is nigh unkillable. Once that Guardian Greaves is up as well, it's just going to be obnoxious, right? So Jamesy should be able to get a little bit more done.
Eris is down. Mel does find the kill, but it may cost him the Aegis. He will refract up. He's surrounded though by quite a few heroes, but TNC is coming in to try and help out. There's the Aegis going. His Echo Stomp is not going to be there in time. The Raw from KP will push him away, but Armel still copying too much damage. But no, the Glimmer Cape will save him though. Nando, he does find it in the end. Now Tim's just trying to get the hell out of there. And Armel got a little bit greedy, but March, he will find a trade in the form of Grims. Can they punish further? Cignal still trying to run away. Mark, who are you aiming for? He's going after Nando, and here comes Gabby on the CK. Still though, it's a 1-for-1 trade once again, but they do find the Void. And for some reason, they decided to drop a mango tree in the middle of all that. They'll get chopped down by KP immediately. The man hates mangoes.
Well, in the end, it is still a slightly more favorable trade for Cignal. Just taking out that TA is still a pretty big win for Cignal, just because TA is worth a lot more. So Cignal gonna be pretty happy about that. That does let our Void finish up. Strom is gonna be doing a bit more damage. Overall, speed up the farm. And Cignal, you know, they're the guys now with the draft that plays around that timer. Void ultimate gonna be up in about 15 seconds. They need to make something happen that time span. They need to find a big kill, find a big pick off, and just keep doing that every single time. I think if Cignal can keep that up, this deficit of 6k is not gonna matter too much in a few minutes time.
Well, Mel looking for more already. He just respawned up. He wants some heroes to take out. He won't get lucky enough to find anybody quite yet. Nando on the low ground has Chrono up.
Dire's bottom tower has been denied.
We'll see the Echo Saber now up on Gabby's CK, so a lot more damage output on him. You can really see the urgency in TNC this game. They just aren't willing to wait. They want to keep forcing fights and making it very hard for Cignal Ultra. Gabby forcing in the creep wave towards that tier 3 tower. Jamesy will be there to defend on the Timbersaw. Cignal, just sticking as a team, not splitting up, not giving any kind of leeway to TNC to try and get a pick off. TNC do still hold the net worth lead at 6k. Armel at 10k net worth right now on the TA. Trying to go into that BKB, and you'd imagine the BKB's up on TNC, they may actually just start forcing the C3 towers.
Definitely nothing holding them back from getting that done. So just waiting out in that one big... Of course, you have to respect Cignal. They still have that team fight up. They do have the Chronosphere up, every single spell up, and they are just clumped up as 5. They understand that they don't have the map control to take these fights to TNC, but if they can somehow bait TNC in, their counter fight is going to be really good.
Well, 20-minute
Dire's
is about to
top
hit.
tower is under
Of course,
attack.
both teams are going to start fighting over the outposts. Nice arrow from Tims. But they will still get the outpost. But look at TNC. Immediately trying to force in that T2 tower. Sometimes it's a trade you have to make. Do you want the outpost? Do you want your tower to remain? Luckily for Cignal, TNC does not have any creeps in the mid lane to really try and force that tower down. So they will be forced to just pushing that top creep wave once again and just maintain the dire control around the control over the jungle.
Almighty money. Regeneration.
For the hunt.
Cignal gonna smoke up. Again, Chrono is up. They're ready to fight now. Be massive if they could find a big pick off like Armel. But he does have his BKB up now, so he may be willing to fight as long as that Chrono is not available. It is though.
Dire's top tower is under
Making their way
attack.
towards Armel. He does run the opposite way now, so it looks like they will completely avoid any kind of engagement.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Now TNC once again in that dire side jungle.
Shadows take us.
Could be dangerous for them, but they pop the Moonlight Shadow and it looks like they want to try and force a fight. Nando. Oh, he's going to be there. Oh. No, he does get caught out and they caught March as well, but the arrow connects from Tims. Still, they do get the TA kill. And that's a massive deal for the side of Cignal Ultra as they try to chase KP. So they will lose out on that, but they find something even better in the form of Gabby. That CK just didn't seem to do anything. The Phantom Illusions were just missing.
Radiant's top tower
And
is under
Cignal
attack.
win a massive team fight. They got both the position 1 and 2 of TNC.
That's some really good game sense coming out from Cignal. Just having the dust on hand, popping it right then, allowed them to figure out they were being rotated on, and they just land a really good chrono. It looked a bit wonky when the arrow hit, but everyone else was still outside to follow up the damage. Immediately take out Armel, who is the main damage right now, and once he was gone, it was just very easy for Cignal to clean up. So that's exactly what they need to do and what they need to keep doing. Just try to find those kinds of fights. Eventually you will turn the tide to yourselves. You've also got a lot of key items flying out now on a few cores. Mjolnir was up for Nando in that last fight, and now they have Jamesy with their Guardian Greaves, so he's going to be much harder to kill off. The entire team is just going to be that much tankier, and that's going to make it much harder for TNC to try to bridge these heroes down.
It certainly is. Still, Armel definitely wants to take advantage of that 10-second BKB charge he has while the Chrono is not available. He's got about a minute to make use of that. Could be in the Roshan pit though, which is respawning in about 10 seconds, and TNC are already ready for it. And I wonder if Cignal Ultra will try to contest without that Void ultimate. Definitely doesn't seem like the wise decision, but you don't want to give that Aegis away for free. Well, they'll get started.
are you hiding?
Signal don't really have vision around the Roche pit either, so they may not be aware this is happening. They do scan it out. It may be way too late though, and yeah, it definitely is. Roshan is already gone. The Aegis will go the way of Armel, and the Cheese will go the way of Gabby. I suppose on the bright side, they will have the Chrono up if they do try to force a tier 2 tower. But they'll smoke first, TNC. Nando does get spotted by Gabby. Moonlight Shadow now to be popped. Nando seems to understand they're around him somewhere, and they does go back in towards his base. So nothing will come out of the smoke or the Moonlight Shadow.
Radiant's bottom tower.
See, again, gonna have to wait for the right opportunity. At least Gabby will try to force in that bot tier 2. But there could be an engagement up top. They will be fighting over that outpost at that 25-minute mark. Cignal gonna try and take it now, and they do grab it, but Armel jumps straight in after Eris. He doesn't find the kill quite yet, and he didn't use that BKB very early on, but they do get it in the end. Now the Doom on the Timber, not allowing him to do anything throughout this team fight. Where is the Void? Not around at the moment. He's still running in. He has the Chrono. Will he use it though? Raw comes out against Timber, but there is the Chrono. He found 3 of them. It doesn't seem like it's gonna be good enough. There's no damage output. They'll find at least the Aegis. Earthsplitter doing a lot of damage, but still Cignal trying to go after Gabby on that CK. They just don't have the damage. They'll go after March instead on the Doom. It's a much easier target. And who's next? KP, the closest target to them. Do they have the lockdown? James will get in there with the Chakra. TNC still trying to just outrun them. They could try to turn. It doesn't look like they're interested. Meld strike to Nando, and that's going to be it. That fight, it was a 2-for-1 trade. It was a buyback on Eris and a dieback for that matter on Eris, but it still seems to go Cignal Ultra's way.
I'm sure they don't mind too much. They managed to take out that Aegis. They managed to force out a couple of spell usages from TNC as well. Sure, you expend the Chronosphere there, but you've got a bit of a time where TNC, they don't have Doom, they don't have the Phantasm. Bit vulnerable as well, so you can try to force something out, particularly once Eris is up. He's going to be a bit of your magic damage coming in these fights, and once that's settled, you could probably at least find a pickoff if you really wanted to.
Under attack.
Quickening Charms popping out. Cooldown's going to be lower. Looks like again Armel going into the die side jungle, being very aggressive with his positioning. He's getting very close to a butterfly now. You see Nando with that Lincoln Sphere, trying to protect himself from that Raw, or the Doom for that matter. He'll be going for a butterfly up next as well.
Is under attack. Dire's top tower is
Van,
under attack.
just gonna cop an arrow. Won't really matter though, there's no follow-up to it. Cignal Ultra should be able to get this tier 2 tower very, very easily.
Dire's top tower.
And by the time they'll have the Chrono back up, so they could try and force another smoke,
Tower has fallen.
or just defend their top tier 3 tower, which was being pushed in by KP once again. TNC, I mean, they've still got a 9k net worth lead, but I'm not sure how concerned they should be. Gabby, as a CK, it does tend to drop off throughout those later stages of the game, whereas the Void just doesn't.
It's gonna be a bit rough. Like, he is rushing that heart, and we have seen CKs go for that heart, somehow still end up having minimal impact. Right now, Gabby's damage is still pretty darn good, and he is still managing to at least burst down his squishier heroes. he isn't doing so well up against Jamesy anymore, and even Nando, if you don't stun lock him, he's basically just he has enough time between time walks to still fight. So you really got to watch out. There is a slight timer here for TNC on that CK at the very least. Armel should be able to maintain relevancy into the late game. The bulk of the damage as this game goes on.
We do have another pause, this time from Cignal Ultra. Bit of pocket
loss.
Pocket
pocket
loss.
Mike. He's losing his pocket.
That's not good.
Yeah. James Bulsa. That is pocket in Tagalog. So,
Thank
just
you,
making
John.
fun. Ah.
Cignal Ultra still behind. We'll have a look at that win probability, and it is still apparently 100% their way. So Cignal Ultra have there's nothing to worry about for Cignal Ultra. They've got this game in the bag.
Yeah, Gabe has declared it so.
Yes.
TNC will have to play in the minors.
Absolutely.
And that's it. Oh, there you go. They're resetting your internet. Or it's PLDT.
Now.
That would have been pretty terrible. Like my line has been consistently cutting. I believe I have been dropping packets as well. Like, I haven't been able to listen in too well, which is fine. I mean, there's a typhoon happening. I can't completely blame them. So, you know, the lines are going to be torn up, which is okay. And in this one case, I can be understanding, Mike.
Very good. Good to hear it.
Just for now. Not tomorrow.
Absolutely not. Hopefully, Cignal Ultra, or rather Nando, has found his pockets. Definitely important to have those pockets available during these games. Jamesy, last one to reconnect.
You know, I would love to be a fly in the wall here and just hear what both teams are going through.
I mean,
it must be tense. Yeah, like tense. You've got that. You've got, you know, national pride is a bit on the line. I mean, at the very least, everyone. Wow, it must be really bad if everyone's disconnecting that much.
Oh, it's a typhoon.
But
I imagine typhoon bad.
Yeah, it tends to be. I've never experienced them because in my part of the country, in my part of the Philippines, we actually don't get typhoons passing through.
Well, aren't you privileged?
Yeah, it's kind of. Yeah, I mean, it's nice to not have that. We do have earthquakes though, much more often, which they're not like earthquakes that do wreck buildings. So, although the past two ones have wrecked a couple of buildings in different cities, my city's not quite in this. You know, it's not the what you call it, center point? No, what do you call that term, Mike? Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
No idea, John.
Of course not.
No idea.
Of course not. How could I expect you to know?
Well, I'd have to be listening to know.
That's fair enough.
Just joking. This is a bit of an unfortunate pause, John. Third game, final game, and Cignal Ultra. I mean, this is not the way you want to have your last game of the qualifier going, especially considering this is the game that decides whether to go to the major or not.
Yeah, it's just pivotal.
Neither team really wants to lose like the momentum that they were having in that game, and the more time you spend not playing, the more time you kind of lose that groove that you're in. And that's more unfortunate for TNC, I would argue, who are currently ahead by 10k net worth.
It's gonna be really interesting to consider how well how well these teams will play. Like, you have to factor in that the Southeast Asian games are happening and in like a few days. So I'm trying to recall, like for Dota 2, I want to say it's Cignal Ultra playing, but I'm gonna have to double check. If it's Cignal, I think that's actually gonna coincide with. Oh no, it's a droid. Okay, but they've got Eris and Van as subs. Wait, if it's a droid, are they still in for? Yeah. Are they actually in, or am I not seeing this right? A droid? No. Okay. Because if any of them had like matches for the minor qualifiers, which are, I believe, in 2 days, that would be a scheduling conflict. So I'm not sure which takes precedence in that case.
I'd imagine the major would, right?
You would think, but I'm not sure how much leeway you can push against your government committees and pull out of an inter-regional game. Like that is like on a different level. It's like outside of the DPC, yeah, the prize pool is probably not amazing as well, but this is very much an issue of actual national pride. So, unfortunately enough, that's not going to be an issue as far as I can see for most of these national teams. Like, no. It would have been an issue if... Oh, actually... No, okay, that's Barrack X. No.
Maybe just confirm before you go
I'm
any
looking.
further.
I'm looking. It would have been an issue if Fnatic had to play minor qualifiers, mainly because Jabs and Savage are playing for Thailand, which actually sounds really scary. That's pretty stacked, I have to say. Like, for the SEA Games, Thailand, that's one to watch out for. And I guess Indonesia, like Barrack X, you can't really count out. Like, they haven't had the best run so far, but they've got Jokam, and I think that's a guy I can always cheer for. You've got Nuts over in Singapore as well, and Paulson, although they don't have the big names from Singapore playing this time around. And for the Philippines, it's basically a droid, which, again, they have a bit of an edge playing these qualifiers, but still, that's going to be interesting. Like, how much the meta is going to be influenced by this. They are playing on a new patch as well. It kind of reminds me of the ESL IP mode. Like, if you remember casting those, like, a lot of these teams are from there. Like, the Myanmar group is pretty much Reckoning, if I recall right. Kind of miscasting those games.
Yeah, they were pretty fun. We should be having them soon again anyway. Too big of a deal.
It's been pretty busy. I believe India has DreamHack coming up fairly soon. Unfortunately, no Dota 2 there, but it seems like a pretty happy event. So, good on them. Looks like it's going to be a pretty fun time there.
No word from Cignal Ultra. Of course, they can't really talk considering all of them are disconnected, but it doesn't look good. That is
it definitely doesn't.
That is a very long disconnect.
The lines could be down. Maybe they're switching to a different carrier. Maybe they're trying to pop on a wireless modem, which is really not ideal. They're probably exploring their options here. It's going to be rough. It's surprising that TNC isn't facing that same issue from wherever their team house is. But, you know, that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing for TNC. That's a good thing.
Well, I suppose even if they did, though, TNC would probably have a lot of backups, considering it's a major organization, whereas Cignal Ultra is a little bit smaller.
They are, like, on an international scale, for sure. I think Cignal in particular has really been making strides in trying to establish themselves as a premier esports organization in the Philippines. I think they're pretty damn close to it. Like, I believe they were the champions of the Nationals, you know, that Philippine League, all Philippine League. So they did come out on top there in Season 1. And that was a pretty good showing. They have been kind of sticking with the same exact lineup as well. So these guys have played together for a very long time. And hopefully enough their internet comes back. This is a process we've been stuck in. I'm surprised you're not talking about your life right now, Mike.
There's not much to talk about, John. It's all a disaster. I'd rather depress myself at this time of the night.
I mean, you know, it's funny to think about. I mean, it's not funny. It's kind of sad, but it's a strange coincidence. My country's going to be flooding up, and Australia has the bushfires.
It's not good. It's
definitely not.
The whole world is basically having quite a few natural disasters. It's really pretty bad.
I have learned nothing.
What else is there? Like, I'm kind of unaware. I know there was two.
I'd rather not talk about natural disasters. It's a bit depressing.
Miles away.
Don't you think?
It is. But what can you do? The world is... It happens, right? It's just a way of things.
Very, very upsetting.
Like this kind of disconnect. I'm wondering whether or not the admin actually steps in at some point.
Well,
there must be pause time.
Cignal Ultra's clearly having technical difficulties, like... props to the admin for giving them time, and props to TNC for not complaining about it. Obviously, TNC understands the situation.
Yeah, I think you'd look pretty... It would be pretty rough to have to rulebook here.
Oh, here we go. Tim's, hi. They're gonna start talking to each other. Poor March.
Oh.
The sports never get appreciated, John. Never.
Oh, definitely. I mean, this is a pretty good showing for March. You know, you compare that to his first support Doom game. That went pretty atrocious. This one's pretty good. He is working towards an Ags, and he's having a lovely little time in the jungle, just kind of walking around. He's got a blink. Honestly, actually, he only has a blink and a whole bunch of jungle items and his boots. So, he's having much better impact with just those items than I'd expect.
Well, now we're rolling. 32 is the
32.
number for March. It's a good number.
Gotta roll higher. It's okay. From 0 to 100, that's like lower than average. Lower than the middle, though.
March asked them to roll back. Tim's, do you have the balls to roll, sir?
Why don't you roll, Mike?
I'd rather not. It's a professional game job. I'd better stay out of it.
I saw that ending from miles
And Armel does not roll. Tim's does not roll either. No rolls going on. Nobody having fun.
No one wants to be friends with March.
Poor March.
That's a bit mean.
We appreciate
That
you,
is a bit
March.
mean.
Don't you worry.
He's a great guy. You know, I wonder, you're gonna find this funny, I wonder if they've had dinner. It's 10:22 p.m. at GMT +8, UTC +8. Have they all had dinner? Has everyone had dinner? I hope they have.
That seems to be your concern every time we get this late. Have you had dinner, John? Is that what you're up?
Oh, yes. Yes, I've had a week-old pizza. Probably a week and a half old pizza. Very satisfying.
What kind of pizza, John?
It's hard to describe. I'm something called a Manhattan slice from Yellow Cab, which if you're from the Philippines, you'd probably know. And you can probably flame me for my pizza choice. But describe it as it tasted right on the edge of not being good, but it was still edible. So I'm very okay.
Well, March is asking a serious question. It has
here we
been
go.
quite a wait now.
Yeah, I mean, it has to come out at some point.
It's not
You
really
can't
a
just
rule.
indefinitely. No, it's definitely rule booking. Like there is a set amount of time you can pause for every team.
No, naturally,
just...
but I think March isn't really throwing the book at them. I think he's just kind of saying, hey, what do we do here?
I mean, it's either you wait or you ask for the rules to be enforced.
Not there.
Why Mark would you Armel. Oh, this is just like those Steam chats you get from random bots. That is a pretty good question, no? Okay, there we go. And
But
after
no Ultra, they're not going to just lose if they don't reconnect.
I don't think they immediately lose, but maybe they just unpause and it's basically free farm for until Cignal comes back. It's not a straight out loss. Like it's not a straight out forfeit. They just run out of pause time.
So you're telling me that Dota Plus is going to be wrong because they disconnected. Cignal Ultra clearly had a 100% win chance, John.
Yeah.
I'm going to be very upset if TNC win just because this disconnection happened.
Yeah, you know what? That is actually a very... Yeah, there you go. So that's an interesting thing to raise up. I wonder if there's any tournament organization that has like a clause for what you would describe legally as acts of God. So say a typhoon would be considered that, you know, like natural disasters or natural occurrences.
I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, of course you wouldn't have a clause for that, because that's way too much legalese for a game set of rules, but you do run into situations like this as well. So Cignal will... Yeah,
the admin's doing his best. I mean, the admin can only do what the admin can do. He's doing his absolute best. He has stated that Cignal Ultra has restarted their network.
Get your pitchforks out for March in case. Gabby's throwing him under the bus.
If this is how TNC...
Yeah, no, this is... Oh, that's just not...
I mean, clearly they're winning. Let's not take that away from TNC, right? They're 10k ahead.
Right. They're winning, but you can argue that Cignal has so much going for them. They've been taking a few of these fights. They've been finding Armel. They've been bouncing it out with TNC. Their combination is just starting to come online. You're just starting to see their Void get that farm up. You're seeing the Wombo combo really taking shape, and this happens. So... Right, like you look at the stats, 12 to 8, 29 minutes in, 10 TNC, they are looking pretty good. But as this game progresses, it's not a dead set win. You take a look at that, even in terms of map control. And don't check Dota Plus because that is completely wrong.
What?
But it's I can't doubt the AI. The AI will kill me if I doubt it. Okay, so you've got all of these situations happening, and you've just got this unbearable pause that just can't go on, right? Like, no matter what the cause is, you just can't do this. So it's going to be rough, and there are definitely going to be a lot of people mad in chat, very mad at more than likely TNC, but there's only so much you can do here. Like, you can't expect the guys to...
Hold on a minute. There's no reason for chat to be mad at TNC. I mean, you can't wait all night.
Yeah, exactly. You can't wait all night. Like...
No, they're not going to be mad. I mean, apart from, you know, the memes and stuff, I'm pretty sure everyone's pretty reasonable.
No. You know, it's... Nah, you can't say that. No, I'm pretty sure chat will just be memeing about TNC winning by unpause.
Yeah, but that's memeing.
It goes beyond memeing. Like, they are also half serious, Mike. Like, it happens, right? So you're gonna have that conversation as well about the last game in a best of 3 just ending this way. If it does end this way, it's not gonna be the best look. But that is how the hive mind kind of works, you know. It's just the way the loudest shout. You know, the people that shout loudest are just the ones that kind of get heard, and you do see a lot of arguments in chat about TNC's performance, right? Like, it has been up and down throughout these close qualifiers, and this series is arguably one that they should not be trying 1-1 to. Very arguably, they should not be 1-1 to Cignal Ultra, right? They should be on a different level on stats, on paper, with the players they have. And Cignal, they're putting up a great fight, but they're going to go for it.
All right, March is going to go for it. It's quite reasonable. They've waited an extra 7 minutes.
All right. Yeah.
And yep, Cignal Ultra, nothing they can do. But Armel's here to save the day. He's had enough of March's tyranny. Armel says no. March, you will take a seat, and we will keep waiting.
All right.
Oh, Armel's a good guy. All right, Armel's trying to get Reddit karma. All right, fair enough, Armel.
So they're basically just giving away their own pause time. I mean, they're not giving their pause time, but they're giving the equivalent of their own pause time away. You know, so they're giving them an answer. So there you go. Reddit, bring it out for Armel.
I love these TNC boys. Bloody hilarious these guys are. You know, speaking of John.
March, right under the bus.
You know, March, we were fans of you, sir, but hero in all this. So everyone, please upvote any Armel posts. Give him as much Reddit gold as possible. He deserves it. And well, March is, of course, a businessman. He wants the major over friendships. Armel, though, he's a loving guy. Wants to keep his friends close. Oh, we were talking about pizza before. While we were waiting, do you agree with the age-old argument that pizza, or either pineapple, does not or does belong on pizza?
That's a tough one. I don't personally go out looking. I don't go out looking for Hawaiian pizza.
Don't be offensive.
But I'm not.
Is it yes or no?
I'm not offended by pineapple in pizza. I don't go looking for it. I'm not offended by it.
You like it or not?
It's fine. I don't like it. I don't dislike it. I'm just neutral with it. Like Sweden is with World War II and World War One. You know, with Switzerland. Sorry. You know, you're. I don't take any hard stance. I don't mind it. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I honestly find the people that absolutely hate it to be wasting so much effort. If you actually hate it, you should give no effort in noticing it at all. You don't even have a conversation about it. You ignore it. That's true hatred. What you're doing is bringing attention to something you actually hate, which brings people who love it in, and you're having a conversation about something you'd rather forget. You know, it's like, if you truly hate pineapple in pizza, you will ignore pineapple in pizza.
You're very philosophical tonight, John.
You don't have a conversation. Yeah, it's just the way I am. But yeah, pineapple and pizza.
It's fantastic, by the way, for the any viewers watching. Pineapple pizza is John, it deserves the spot on pizza. I mean, people keep arguing
for some reason, I expected you to be the kind of guy who would hate pineapple and pizza. I'm not sure why.
Pineapple pizza, I love it. I think it's fantastic.
You know, there was this amazing sandwich from McDonald's Singapore, and I've talked to you about it before. It's their buttered chicken sandwich, and that thing is amazing. Absolutely, like the bun is nice. It's a bit too greasy, but it's really good when you're just wanting something fast. The chicken's really well done. The cheese, the chopped cabbage inside is great. I have to say that's one place I don't want my pineapple in, though. Like, it really kind of ruins the taste of that sandwich. So there are moments where I like pineapple, but on the Singaporean McDonald's butter chicken sandwich, definitely a no-go. I ordered that without the pineapple. It is excellent that way. And yeah, it's just a bit of a segue, but pineapple.
Pineapple's good.
Oh no, like I love pineapple as a fruit. Like it's really damn good.
Ooh, we've gone pretty low in the conversations here. While this
we could go lower. We could go lower, Mike.
We're not gonna go any lower, John. We've gone as low as we can get. The TNC boys, I'm pretty sure we should have an unpause soon.
Fairly soon.
Mel using the TNC pause time. I've been not forcing anything, giving TNC the choice to continue waiting, which is very nice, very polite of Armel to force the pause and give Cignal Ultra a chance. I do appreciate that from Armel, I've got to say. I do wonder what's up though. Like, did their line just really get cut? Okay, there we go. Will we see a pause back? No. Okay. And that's the end of that.
Dire's top tower
Cignal got
under
cut.
attack.
I saw that ending from miles.
Well, March.
Well, they're not going for the kills on the heroes. Oh well, they are now. Yeah, no, they kind of ignored Jamesy, but they're going on Van. All right.
Well, the game's. Oh no.
Oh, they're back.
They're back. He pauses straight away. Uh-oh.
Oops. Well,
guess who's back?
To be fair, they haven't really lost too much time there.
KP just took a tier 3 tower in that span of
Oh, okay. Well, that was short-lived. That was very short-lived.
Oh no. So what do you do now? You just wait again? Maybe give it. No, I think you give him like 5 minutes, right? It's clear that.
No, like on the rulebook. On the rulebook, if you're going strictly by the rulebook, this is just an unpause. Yeah.
No, he's definitely in the right to unpause. I'm not saying that. Anyway, it's fine. They've waited long enough. This game is over. Tim's cleaned up errors. I'm not sure if it's worth casting this, John. There's not really much going on. They are going to go straight to the tier 4s. They don't want to make this a spectacle.
Yeah, TNC. That's TNC to the majors. So last major champs do manage to secure that last spot. Rather anticlimactically, I have to tell you, the result might have been different. We'll never know due to circumstance. Cignal, they gave up a good fight. This is really not the way you'd want that to go. And my god, that actually isn't a very good look. I believe Cignal is provided internet by a certain company as well, so it's a bit of a shame, but they are going to be there for the minor qualifiers, I believe. They still got a shot into DPC. Not quite the big event they'd want to go, but it's still a chance. They have a lot more games to go as these go on, Mike. Pulling them around, Matsu can just sit there and hit them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He wants more.
It's not even about their positioning, it's about the amount of time that you're disabled,
back
right?
and forth,
Yeah.
back
I mean,
and
it
forth.
also does 300 damage.
Of course.
Matsu is chasing these two. There's not really any follow-up yet because nobody's as fast as he is.
Matsu
But
should be able to finish mind control.
He's got an Aegis. He's like, yeah, sure.
Oh, okay, so he doesn't want to die for it. I can see why I didn't have the mana for. Well, he had a one charge if he wanted to go for one with Shikuchi, but
Could have went, he has diffusal as well.
he pretty well in place.
Oh, the race.
I mean, that's not really a race.
There's so much HP on this Magnus, not a lot that we like to do on his own, but with Kuro,
Yeah, but look at this.
they're not going to catch him. I mean, how do you catch him?
Mini, the cold snap and stuff is going to stop Skewer because he just skewered wall cold snap. Didn't do anything. Okay.
So you think the wind-up should be a bit longer?
Because it increases the cast point as well, right? The Aghanims makes 0 mana, increases cast point, and it removes mana cost.
Yeah.
So maybe they get rid of that cast point thing.
The cast point is ridiculous, yeah. If you're cold snapped, you shouldn't be able to use it.
That was very hard for them to deal with Nation out.
Yeah.
But because, I mean, you've got to remember this Hags was very, very fast.
They need a hex.
20 minutes in, it's what, 5k lead now for Secret.
He's 3,100.
I told you, right? 3k HP when you got these two items. Yeah.
Put the axe in instead of the maybe.
Yeah. And the fact that you can farm those 3 caps near a lane so fast as well, you can just get infinite gold.
Don't even need mana. Just skewer every time.
3.3k right now.
Oh, the time
that was a good time, that.
What is he? Is his team coming?
He has age.
They're running.
He's
Guess who it is? It's Nation. Skewering 1. He doesn't even need it.
That's gonna be enough.
Yeah.
The rest are just out, man. I mean, you still put them away. Secret's going to be able to put you on mind control. Oh, bring about his mana burn.
Oh no.
Scared about. He does have the. No, there's nothing that Nick can do to keep mind
No,
control
they're
safe.
actually they just keep hitting it too. They're like they don't care.
They know that this is a very easy kill. BKB done on map 2 as well, so
Snowballing out.
We are gonna get a
it's speeding
courier
up.
They hit their timing.
and double damage, right?
They can't contest them anymore.
Yeah, their timings are everything's together. The BKB on Weaver, he's actually unkillable now.
Are they going? Yeah. Why not?
Go.
Just go
I mean, you might as well. You got the
They've
beast.
got everything up.
They've got so much push.
All their abilities are still up.
Nigma's not ready for this. You know, at the end of the day, it is a slot. You 5-man against a side runner for 22 minutes. Slot's going to have some problems.
Oh, and Mike control. He doesn't have ulti.
He pulled back for that. That's a good actually.
That's a die
And
tactic.
then get the RP as well down with the iron.
And they are being
That's his game, right?
It's looking pretty over.
Maybe we does speed. Yeah.
Maybe secret meant to die. You know?
Yeah.
There's a...
They did skip the creep wave.
They did get the
So
wave.
they've kept the tier 3 alive for now. There's now 10k lead for secret.
That's 4
4
buybacks.
it is. This is a...
Actually 5, right? Because Abaddon...
Yeah, it's a dieback for
Yeah,
these
I
ones.
don't know.
Yeah.
Like someone didn't buy that. Kuro didn't buy back, right?
Radiant's top tower
The
has fallen.
Profit.
The snowball out of control. A couple mistakes and you just lose everything.
Dyer's
Towers.
bottom tower
We were
is under
thinking
attack.
maybe Enigma had an advantage from those early skirmishes. But Magnus was just farming.
Or this. It's like a wolf, but like a demon wolf
Dyer's bottom
with a fluffy
tower
tail.
has fallen.
And
Radiant's
he's
bottom
a dead
tower
one.
is under attack.
It's a Zai. It happens.
Yeah.
Just I think.
It's Zai things, yeah.
Yeah. Those are two key parts of this lineup, and I guess the Jakiro adds a lot to it, but the rest can actually be replaced by a lot of different heroes as well. Like, as long as you got this Magnus, you... And anything else with things.
well, Beast does have a lot of invisible attack. Hawk and just the
Yeah,
aura.
and the auras help a lot too, yeah.
Oh, I think, yeah, all bits of secrets lineup are very, very important. Well, I think if someone's going to get banned, it's going to be the cause. It's going to be the Weaver or the Magnus. That's what you're looking at this game at the moment. If Enigma saying these are the biggest puppy. It's going to be Dove here. Still alive. Will die to the tornado damage.
Pushed into the base.
Yeah, but we...
Yeah, that was a deep dive
Get
for
him in the
Puppy.
That's a dive back.
Alright.
I mean, Puppy's like,
There's
you know,
still
was
tier
that
2
worth
tower.
it, Enigma? Diving like that? I mean, we
Fight
will
me.
get out, but Miracle
Yeah.
dying for that?
I mean, we also, you know, we used to be a secret player. So many stories in this matchup.
The ult. Got to use in a second.
Yuso and... No mana on my roll 2. That's an easy kill. You don't have Spark, you don't have
Beyond godlike.
Abba. Runes are up, but who cares?
They're just in beast mode now, these tools on secret.
Kampa got mad. He gave first blood. And he's like, I'm not
Yeah.
dying anymore.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take over this game.
Oh, there's a mango king.
And take over Indeed as they have. I mean, it was such a good Weaver pick versus Tusk and Fury on supports when you saw
That's
that.
and the thing, they had 2 picks to deal with the Weaver. I don't feel they did. You know, I guess like the Abba, sure they picked it. It could trade farm in the lane, but it felt like other than that, the Abaddon's kind of just fed. You know, it hasn't provided you that any sort of extra catch or way to deal with these slippery heroes, the Aghanims, Magnets, and the Weaver. They've just had a totally free game.
Yeah, true thing, right? There's elusiveness versus limited stuns. Really well.
Yep.
There's a blink on GH, but they're already done. Just move back, take a shrine.
Oh yeah, just look how far ahead massive Misha. 14k now there. Nobody even close at the moment on Enigma.
Has fallen.
You got it. The seeds.
Yeah, with that start, you look back at the lanes, you know, Enigma were able to secure a good lane for Miracle. But it didn't matter when everything came together for Secret in the mid game. Enigma's just struggled to deal with the push. Now this, it really, that's just always been the weaknesses, right, with Slark lineups. When the five-man comes into the game anytime like pre-30 minutes.
He tried to itemize for that. It's not like some Midas Diffusal, that can deal with
but it's still hard. Like even when you have like drums Diffusal, like it's so hard to fight into a 5-man push.
He also did try to leash Matumba Man a couple of times, and Matu just goes away. And that's problematic too.
It's just a very hard game for Enigma's heroes.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Is there a way back? Without secret throwing hard, is there a way back?
It's hard because of they have really high duration. Like the BKBs are full duration on the Weaver and the Magnus, so it's really tough.
Like MC's bottom 3 network, like this Abaddon it is a support hero now.
Their next big timing is this when Miracle gets BKB, and I think the Invoker just got BKB as well.
That's gonna be one team fight. That's gonna be one team.
They've got like one team fight that they need to have to go successful, otherwise the game's probably just not.
Oh, Matu. He pops his BKB. His team is nowhere close to him though, but he's fine.
I mean, when he has the BKB pot, there's nothing.
Has that double damage as well in the bottle.
Nearly 25 as well.
And they're just gonna get Roche. So they're gonna, even though they, you know, Enigma is gonna have their BKBs, they're gonna be playing this a lot harder.
They won't contest.
No.
They're way too far.
And yeah, secret kills are way too far.
And he's holding the DD. They're gonna look to end the game right here. And if
Does he have BKB on Slark? That's the question.
he should have it done.
He should have it. So he's gonna get one fight with BKB and that's it.
BKB Invoker and BKB Slark. They're gonna need something miraculous.
The 10-second BKBs, can they make a difference?
You won't be able to skewer them around, I guess. But
Radiant's bottom tower.
The dice trap need shot dead. Trying to find a skill, won't find the target. Kura still alive for now. They do get the focus on him, and Matsu will finish off the kill. Kura has got a buyback available.
Matsu just go for the buildings. And mind control that shows up, but
Just kill it so fast.
yeah.
Weaver with that empower.
The Desolator.
I mean,
Look how hard he's hitting.
I mean,
450.
they know, yeah, secret. They're on the road to closing this game out.
eyes on the throw.
This was
Hey, look, someone did. We have a bounty. Dug up a bounty rune. Hit it. Take it. Efficiency.
end the game.
There we go.
Oh, he BKBs, but he gets RP'd right as he uses it.
And even a roll thrown in at the end as well by Zion.
it's no buybacks as well.
They got 2 BKB disabling. BKB piercing disables. That's
Dire's middle
Enigma, you can call it now. We will not be mad.
I'm thinking about the
We
next
will
game.
fully understand your situation. And
I mean, yeah, this game one was...
you always have a
It
chance
was a
next.
straight up combination of outplaying. I really do think outdraft.
Outdraft and outplay, but Enigma, man, they have looked very shaky.
They've had a few
Secret is-
games like this. Because some people might not have seen it because they might be watching like the Secret group.
Yeah.
For those that haven't watched Nigma's group, I saw some people still commenting like, sure, like you look at Nigma's lineup, you think these players, it's going to be, they're not going to drop a game against like any of sort of the other teams in the group, but they did. They had games where they
Everyone
struggled.
thought that,
Yeah.
right?
So in this matchup against Secret side, but before we saw what was happening in this game, it was like, well, Secret is very easily faced.
Dire are scanning.
Three of me!
It's really, really strong. Really is. Enchanted Quiver. Yes, this one empowers your next ranged attack with plus 400 bonus range and 175 bonus magical damage and true strike. If there's a hero it's good on, TA is definitely one of the best. Meld, obviously.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
The thing is, though, they can't force things too hard, because if they use their ultimates and don't get for it, then we know Liquid is going to be in the driving seat of this game. You could say the same thing about Black Hole, but honestly, I'm not sure it applies that heavily to Black Hole. I don't think that this is something... Yeah, shove that little bear in, see what's going on. The duel. Oh, no, Bogsy now out of position. They've got him caught out, but do they want to engage onto this guy? Not really. It's Eddie from the high ground, throwing down the silence, and in comes Tiger. He's got a nice black hole coming down. Will they be able to take down one more though. Sparta's going to be the target. He's going to drop. Lim trying to fight up into Doomed Bloodseeker, but he doesn't care. He's just going to kill him anyway. Boxy running out of health, however, as the splits are bringing him down. The rock collides, and he is going to drop. Meanwhile, yeah, Sania just getting the deny onto Mickey with not that much damage on Sania. He's just turning around, chasing them back. Will eventually be dropping here, which is going to mean 3 dead for Liquid. So despite 2 buybacks, Alliance will win this fight. They really want this Roshan, and they may well just get it here, but the TPs are coming over. They want to make sure. Yeah. What's that?
Go!
You certainly cannot. Amazing, I did actually know that one. They've got the ward down, beautifully down from Insane. Yeah, look at that. Do they have the damage to bring him down? Yes, they do. Nico Baby's going to drop. Haskin coming in. Oh, he's looking for revenge right now. Coming forward onto Boxy. Yeah, he might be able to get... He actually just time-lapses straight the way back into this one. What's up, dudes? I'm back. Meanwhile, Lim tries to bring down one, but he gets the TP out of that. That was the Enigma just TPing back to base. Insane might be full. He doesn't mind, though. He just got to pat back on the Weaver. Made that kill even more worth it. He would have died for just a kill onto the Weaver, let alone the kill and buyback. But it does mean they can pressure this tier 1 tower and probably going for more here. They want to make this buyback worth it on Nico, but what is the call going to actually be? Finishing off the Manta. Looking at... No, he's not going to buy any parts of his Link Stirrup. A Doom? Hello? Oh, Bloodseeker caught out massively here. All right, well, did find a way somehow to make that buyback work. As Mickey tried to go for a bounty route there.
Dire's bottom tower has
the Tiger, he's making his way over, and here he comes. He's going to drop down the Midnight Pulse. Is it going to be enough for the dieback kill onto Nico Baby? Yes, it is. Just in the nick of time, they bring down that bug, and now Cignal's going to be in some trouble as well. The fear brings them right back into the waiting arms of Boxy and the Bear, the famous duo, as they fast forwards with Qualifier there, using the pressy attack to give him a little bit more attack speed and Purge, but Father does a pretty good job controlling that Bear. But in comes Lim. He's got a lot of damage and another black hole. It's really damn good. Hoarding Templar Assassin still trying to bring her down. She's still alive inside of BKB, and Boxy will actually fall for this one. They haven't brought down Lim yet. It's only even his first life, but in comes a fear. Finally, they finish the job, and now he's going to come back without a BKB. Can they punish? They're going to need something here when they've got a rupture. The blink away immediately from Lim. They're pretty damn nice. The Force, he's taking a lot of damage right now. The refraction charges run out. Mickey's just charging at him right now. Lim trying to turn around, trying to hold his ground, some last dying breath, but it's not going to do a thing. Meanwhile, Farter getting in as well. It's another kill for Mickey. He gets the double, and Liquid take a huge fight. Once again, the game's come flying back into the other side of the court.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
TA ball back for the Roshan attempt. She doesn't have it either.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Let's see. Where are the pings? Where are the pings?
Middle tower is under attack.
Right. Oh, he's got the creep wave. Is it enough? Here they go. They're going for the tier 4s. 31 minutes. Doom has the buyback, but look at the damage coming out. Qualifier.
Radiant's middle tower.
I think they can. Qualifier, when's the form? He's got a little bit of time left, and they're going to try and jump in on this one. Can they stop doing it? The Ancient is falling. Brewmaster tries to go for Doom, and Brooks, he's going to bring him down. The Ancient getting low, and it is going to... It doesn't matter. Alliance cannot keep them off that throne. The buybacks, the advantages which Alliance got for those buybacks as well, they all come to nothing.